Hi there everyone, and welcome to this webinar hosted by the Redhill Teaching Hub. My name's Sally Barfoot and I'm the Director of the Hub. I'm working closely with the Teaching School Council, the DFE and our colleagues and partners across our designated area in order to deliver to you the highest quality teacher development opportunities from initial teacher training through to leadership. Those of you who have attended our previous webinar will hopefully know and understand a little bit more about the remit of the regional hubs. But for those of you who are joining us today for the first time, I'm going to just give you the briefest of overviews of our core activities before going into a little more detail about the ECF and the appropriate body services. We're going to keep today as simple as possible, as I know there is lots of information coming your way at the moment. We'll be hosting similar events in the coming weeks before we break for the summer, which will focus on MPQs and the Hub's wider CPD offer. I will give you some details today about how to get further information from the Hub and register for our programmes, particularly the MPQs. However, I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail about this offer today, so we make sure that we can focus clearly on the ECF training and the appropriate body services. I'll be looking for the rest of this webinar then at how the early career framework will impact you and your school if you have an early career teacher starting employment with you this September. I will also outline to you how our appropriate body services are going to work, including some information on pricing. At the end of the session, we will recap the registration processes. These are repeated on our website and in our current newsletter, which goes out to all schools who have registered with the Hub and is also available on our website. I just want to take a couple of minutes then to quickly summarise to those of you who've not joined us before who the Hub is and what our aim is. The Redhill Hub is one of 87 regional hubs in the UK, in England. And as I'm sure you are now all aware, the DFE are in the process of phasing out teaching school alliances. From September, the new regional hubs will provide local delivery of DFE accredited training programmes encompassing the golden thread of teacher development from initial teacher training, as I said, through to high-level leadership. The Redhill Academy Trust is leading one of two Nottinghamshire hubs, with the Flying High Partnership leading the other. I just want to clarify the regions, as there has been some confusion across the county that we've picked up, where people have thought that Redhill is supporting county schools whilst Flying High are supporting city schools. It's not quite as linear as that, as the DFE have split the designated areas up differently. So just to clarify, Flying High will be supporting Nottingham city schools, those in Mansfield, Ashfield and Rushcliffe. And the Redhill Teaching Hub is designated to support schools in Gedling, Bassetlaw and Newark and Sherwood. The hubs are a collaboration of strategic and delivery partners, which ensure we have capacity to reach all the schools in our regions. Our own strategic partners include Flying High, Minster Trust for Education and Diverse Academies Trust, whose lead school is Tuxford. We will be working closely with these partners and other partners who may join us later to ensure that our hub harnesses, utilises and develops the very best expertise in the region to put the very best CPD and training at your doorsteps. We aim to be a one-stop shop for all your training needs, easy to find, easy to talk to and easy to use. The core activity of all regional hubs is currently defined by the DFE and focuses on the areas shown here. We will provide initial teacher training through our own SCIT and school direct provision and also support other providers of ITT across our partnership and our region. We will provide training programmes for early career teachers in their first 2 years in the profession, appropriate body services and leadership training through the new reformed MPQs. We will also provide a wider CPD offer which directly meets the needs of schools in our region. Our offer is available to all schools in our region, regardless of phase or setting, and includes provision for early years providers, special schools and alternative provision. I just want to remind you as well that this offer is not charged and there is no charge to be a member of the Hub. Our interim website is now live and contains all the relevant information we think schools need to access our offer at the moment. The full website will go live in September and will contain a much more detailed offer. But for the time being, this interim website should be your first port of call if you need information, links, or contact details. The address is here, redhillhub.org.uk. You will find on the website our monthly newsletter, and those of you registered with the Hub already will be receiving our newsletter already. So if you want to read our newsletter and haven't got a copy of it, please check out the link on our website. During today's event, we would then like to go into much more detail about the Early Career Framework and provide some clarity around both our offer and how schools can access it. We know that there is a lack of clarity around this at a national level and are hoping that this opportunity to focus in on the ECF will support schools in our region to understand what their statutory obligations are and how to register for the funded support available through the Hub. You can find a copy of the Early Career Framework on the DFE website, and there is a direct link to it here embedded in these slides. These slides will be available to you on the website in the next couple of days. The rollout of a national training programme for teachers in the first 2 years of their career marks a real step change in training provision for the profession. The reforms related to initial teacher training and the Early Career Framework are part of the government's teacher recruitment and retention strategy, which aims to improve training and development opportunities for all teachers. However, there is a strong awareness that learning your craft as a teacher can be tough at first, and the need to support those teachers at the very beginning of their careers to not just stay in the profession, but to thrive in it, has led to this fundamental change to training provision for those embarking on their career in teaching. The aim is to attract even more people into the profession and provide a world-class training and development programme which supports our most recently qualified staff to make a valid and long-term contribution to our schools. The training materials have been rigorously researched and reviewed and built strategically on the core content framework of ITT provision. It's also important to realise that the Early Career Framework is not being used as an assessment tool. The teacher standards will still sit at the heart of assessment. The Early Career Framework is a training and development tool, and alongside coaching and mentoring opportunities, it will provide our ECTs with an important tool for professional development. So what exactly is the offer? Well, each early career teacher will receive bespoke high-quality training and development materials to support them in the first 2 years of teaching. This is the first major change. Previously, our NQTs only had 1 year of supported training and timetable reduction. Early career teachers will continue to have a 10% reduction in their timetable in year 1. Funding for this has always been in schools and will continue to be provided as part of the national funding formula. However, additional funding will now be made available to schools to ensure that the early career teacher can have a 5% time off timetable in the second year of teaching to enable them to complete their training. The other fundamental change lies in the obligation of schools to base their training on the Early Career Framework and to provide a trained mentor who supports the development of the new teacher for the full 2 years. Another important change is that all schools will also have to have an induction tutor. This is sometimes called an induction lead or an induction coordinator, who oversees the training and assessment of all new teachers in their school. The training they receive during this time must be directly linked to the Early Career Framework, remember, so schools are no longer at liberty to design and deliver their own programme of support, which is not underpinned by the framework. If you register your early career teacher with us, you will receive a bespoke, high-quality training and development materials to support both them and their mentor over the 2-year programme. The training programme will consist of regional training, local group sessions, webinars, and self-study sessions. In the first year, the ECT will have 10% off timetable, and the mentor will need capacity to offer adequate mentoring and support. This needs to be carefully considered, as this is a fundamental role within the early career training programme. Additional funding, remember, will be made available to schools to ensure that the early career teacher can have 5% off timetable in the second year to enable them to complete their training. The mentor, again, though, will need capacity to support the early career teacher's development. The ECF is based on 5 core areas, which have then been subdivided and grouped into delivery blocks for the training programme. They clearly relate to the teacher's standards, which are shown on the next slide. But I want to reiterate that the framework is not an assessment tool, but a training tool. And ultimately, the early career teachers will be trained against the early career framework, but assessed against the teacher standards. Schools have a choice of 3 delivery models for the framework, but we would strongly advocate the full induction programme, as there are several benefits to this, and I will summarise those in a minute. The 3 options are the full induction programme. This is working with a national provider and a delivery partner, such as the Hub. The core induction programme is where you will work with the national provider, but deliver the programme independent of your regional hub. The school-based induction programme is like a DIY method where you will access the early career framework, design your own programme and deliver it yourself. To summarise then, option 1 is to let the hub, who have teamed up with education, which in our case have teamed up with Education Development Trust to deliver the early career framework. We are working as delivery partners for EDT and will provide a regionally adapted programme in 3 centres based in Gedling, Bassetlaw and Newark and Sherwood. These centres are highly likely to be the partner schools, Redhill, Minster and Tuxford. The regional programme will be delivered by experienced and trusted local facilitators. Choosing this route gives you added funding also for mentor training. Option 2 is to deliver your own induction programme in your schools using the materials and resources accredited by the DFE, i.e. using provision from one of the accredited providers, but you deliver the programme yourself. This is the core induction programme. Option 3 is to design your own 2-year induction programme using the early career framework as a basis for the content. This is the school-based induction programme. It will be the choice of each school which option they choose, but please make sure you understand the implications of each choice. The full induction programme places may well be limited by region, as allocation of places is defined in advance by the DFE, so early registration is advisable. Also, please be aware that option 2 and 3 will mean that fidelity checks will need to be carried out by the appropriate body, and schools will be accountable for ensuring their programmes meet the requirements of statutory induction based on the early career framework. The fidelity checks for option 3 will have to be negotiated with the appropriate body. I've summarised what I think are the benefits of the full induction programme here. The DFE appointed 6 national providers to deliver the early career framework, and teaching hubs were asked to make a choice of partner. We chose the Education Development Trust as they were the provider most aligned with our current approach to training. We felt they had the right balance of face-to-face facilitation and online learning, and they have a strong regard for workload. The strong links to Sheffield University's Institute of Education also make their offer appealing, as they were heavily involved in the design of the framework itself. There is a useful link here to the EDT brochure, which outlines the rationale, content and scheduling of training for the programme in years 1 and 2. We are in the process of recruiting a team of local facilitators who will be trained by EDT to deliver the regional training sessions. On the next slide, you will see that the training is broken down into blocks of delivery spread across the 2 years. Once we receive confirmation from the DFE around funding arrangements for our region, we will let you know more about the practicalities around the programme delivery. However, as I said before, we are looking at training a core team of facilitators who will deliver the programme in 3 locations, possibly 4. We've also considered the different phases in our delivery plans and have ensured both primary and secondary expertise are represented in our facilitation team for each session. This table summarises the changes in provision from this year to next and the shift from NQT to ECT. I think it's important to say here that it's emerged in discussion with some schools over the last few weeks that leaders may have underestimated the role of the mentor. And while secondary schools seem familiar with the role of an induction coordinator, primary schools may be less aware of this role. Also, we would encourage schools to recognise that the role of the induction tutor may be subtly but significantly different to their understanding of the current NQT coordinator role. The induction tutor has a lot more accountability in terms of doing observations and report writing. Previously, the mentor would have been much more involved in assessment, but the shift now is towards the mentor being the trainer and coach, and the induction tutor taking on more of the responsibility for the assessment. In the FAQs, which will be sent out to you after this webinar, there is some information on the role of the mentor and the induction tutor, and an outline of the skills and experience we feel are necessary to fulfil these roles. I would equate the role of the ECF mentor to that of an ITT mentor, where through regular meetings, targeted feedback and advice, and high-level instructional coaching, the ECT mentor has a much greater level of accountability and a much higher level of influence on the progress of the ECT. Because the mentor role is so valuable, the DfE has provided funding to release the mentors in the second year of the induction programme in order for them to attend training events and carry out their mentoring responsibilities. It is the induction tutor who carries out the termly progress reviews throughout the induction period against the teacher standards. They also complete the 2 formal assessments at the end of year 1 and 2, coordinating input from other colleagues as appropriate. It's also their responsibility to share progress review records with the early career teacher and to liaise with the appropriate body. Mentoring itself, I think, can be a hugely gratifying and rewarding role in itself, and will be a really desirable role to a lot of our teachers, providing opportunities for career development and the chance to develop some key skills which will be useful to them throughout their careers. Mentors may want to consider looking at the new MPQ for leading teacher development, which is directly linked, I feel, to developing expertise in mentoring and coaching skills. Mentor training will be provided throughout the 2 years, and we will support the mentors to enjoy their role and work effectively alongside their early career colleagues. I know a lot of questions at the moment may revolve around the time commitment and practical arrangements for the training. So here you can see the training schedule for the early career teacher. Just a timely reminder, I know I've said it a lot, but I want to reiterate it, that funding for the 10% release from timetables is already in schools' funding allocations, and that mentor meetings in year 1 should take place on a weekly basis. Schools then will be funded to enable ECTs to attend training in year 2, and mentor meetings should then take place on a fortnightly basis. In the documentation we're going to send out to you after this webinar, there is a further breakdown of delivery schedules to help you understand the time commitments of both the early career teacher and the mentor. But here you can see the training schedule for the mentors. I think it's important to recognise as well that EDT are very mindful that mentors will have other commitments in school, and they've been very careful to plan their training around potential workloads. So the next questions are about registration processes for the early career framework. If you do need to register an early career teacher, the steps to registration are clearly outlined here. Step 1 is to register with the hub, so you get all subsequent information. And if you know of schools that have early career teachers and are interested in signing up for the full induction programme and haven't yet registered with the hub, please point them in our direction. Step 2 is to register with EDT. And when you do register with EDT, make sure you click to nominate Redhill Teaching Hub as your provider. You must also register on the new DfE portal. Please, if you could complete a hub form to help us keep track of prospective numbers, this would be really helpful to us. At the moment, when you register with EDT, we don't have access to that information apart from a weekly bulletin that we receive every Monday. So it's really good to know that you think you've registered and we can then check that you really have, and vice versa. It just helps us really keep track of our application processes. Going forwards, we will have access to this information on a more regular basis, but for the time being, just filling that form in and giving us names of mentors, early career teachers and induction tutors is just really helpful information for us to have. All of this information is also available on our website and in our newsletter. We know there have been problems with registering with the DFE portal. We know that because we've had some problems ourselves. So if you can't find the email that has been sent to all schools against their Get Information About Schools addresses, the best tip I can give you is to either watch this video walkthrough on YouTube. However, I am informed by my own early career framework lead that the quickest way is to go to the web address at the bottom of this page here, the one that says continuing professional development at digitaleducation.gov.uk. If your induction tutor signs up there, they receive an email with a link in it to the DFE portal, and that is probably the easiest way to sign up on the DFE portal if you're having problems. The final thing I want to talk to you about tonight is our appropriate body service. We'll be working with Nottinghamshire County Council and with Flying High Hub to ensure that all schools have access to an affordable and user-friendly appropriate body service in Nottinghamshire. We will, in our first year as a hub, be offering a limited appropriate body service to schools linked directly to the Redhill Academy Trust, Minster Trust for Education and Diverse Academies Trust. As we develop our service, we will extend this offer to all schools in the region. We will be using NQT Manager. I know that's going to be a huge relief to a lot of schools as they're very familiar with it, and I know that schools like it as a system. I think it will probably be renamed as ECT Manager going forwards. Registration is open now, and you're very welcome to use the link on our website to register your ECTs. Now, when I say now, I'm not sure that the link is actually on the website yet, so if it's not, it will be on tomorrow. Costs for full induction programme, if you're just signing up for 1 year, it's £150, and if it's for 2 years, it's £275. Now, we have agreed across Redhill, Flying High and Nottinghamshire County Council to provide the same service at the same cost, regardless of who you register with. Costs for the core induction programme and the school-based induction programme will vary, and there is information about the costs on our website, but please bear in mind they will be much more expensive because there are additional fidelity checks that the appropriate body needs to carry out if you do those programmes. So just a summary here of the registration processes. Please register with the hub, register your ECT with the DFE portal, register with EDT and nominate Redhill Teaching Hub as your delivery partner, and then please let us know your ECT numbers and further information by filling in the form that is available on our website and in our newsletter. Just a quick word now about MPQs. So the MPQ admissions are now live and all the information is on our website. The first programme started in November 2021 and admissions will close in September. We are working in partnership with the Church of England Foundation for Educational Leadership, and we are very heavily involved through Inspiring Leaders with the design and delivery of those programmes going forwards. All information can be found on our Redhill website, Redhill Hub website, sorry, and on the Inspiring Leaders Today website. So, final word from me is to please look out for more information in our newsletter and on our website. We will be sending out to all registered schools an FAQs sheet about the early career framework. If you have any questions now, please feel free to drop them into the question bar on this webinar. We won't be able to answer them now, unfortunately, but we hopefully, if we've not answered your questions in the webinar or on the FAQs, someone from the Hub will get back to you to answer them directly. We will also be sending you an information sheet which outlines the mentor and ECT essentials and an overview of the programme schedules. The final thing that we're planning to do to help you is a series of explainer videos, short 5-minute maximum videos, which explain different aspects of the early career framework and the appropriate body services, and they should be with you in the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much for joining us today. And if there are any questions at all, please do contact us. All our contact details are here. And you will be meeting as well our new Hub manager, Risha. Risha is very happy to get back to you with any information. Just you can contact her through enquiries@redhillhub.org.uk, or you could contact me directly. Thank you for joining us today. Goodbye.